Hello everyone and welcome to the ScratchRunning Podcast, the official podcast of competitive browser gaming. In this monthly series, me and the Scratchrunners talk about what we've seen on Scratch and about Scratch as a platform. And as always, I'm your host Kieran, and with me on the mic are Apfellord, Derite4, and PhantomForcesX, aka Ark.
Hey, hello.
Hi.
I just noticed I got a fly in my room, and it's the perfect time for that. Oh my god.
Good job.
Nice.
Hello and welcome to the Fly.
No, you should make fun of it.
The only podcast on Scratch.
Also, welcome guest Fly.
Where our motto is, we'll let flies on this podcast, but not you.
I love, before this I said, let's say what topics we have, and then I interrupt by saying I have a fly in my room. Yes.
There's a fly in the room.
I think for today's episode, we're gonna talk a little about the recent,
Don't say it.
Well,
If we're
okay,
gonna
no,
say
of
it,
course not. I'm not getting political over here.
Funny virus.
Funny virus.
We're talking about the times with the funny virus and why we could use it to our advantage, especially as like creative people.
I
Instead
actually
of
edited a video this quarantine. Episode 6 of the Crunker Let's Play.
Are you insane?
And I tried several times to record and those didn't go well.
There's time for a bunch more stuff.
Yes.
So, first of all, I want to say thank you, Ark, and thank you, Derite, for joining us again. Derite has joined us quite a few times, but Ark, this is the second time I believe you're on here.
Welcome.
Yeah. So that's super cool. We're gonna get
Nice podcast, bro.
So I believe it's best to like jump right into the topic, and
So
before
let's
this fly
just
annoys me
jump
too much,
into it.
let me ask a question, right? For starters, do you guys think this like time of staying more at home, having less school, or even working less or whatever, has increased your productivity?
I would say yes, because
Okay.
because of this, I was actually able to finish a whole animation,
Yes.
whereas before I actually wouldn't have been able to do it because I got my computer taken away.
Ah,
they-
right. That was.
Ah, yeah.
was
But
the
my
time.
mom did not
That
want me
sucks.
doing nothing during this time where I could definitely be doing something. So she gave me
Yeah.
one more chance, and allowed me
Nice.
to do my homework alongside with doing this animation, which I got done.
Nice. I have online classes, but they don't really matter. I just kind of show up. I don't even talk in the online classes.
Okay,
I just kind of show up.
I am too old to have online classes anymore.
Oh, lucky you.
What are those like? What like?
The
Do you just sit like in a Skype room with a bunch of people and the teacher is just saying stuff and isn't even like, isn't
Well,
really?
it's Microsoft Teams, but yes, it really doesn't matter.
And
Okay.
and also in my area, like it doesn't. Yeah, for careers that doesn't really matter right now. But
Yeah.
also, they can't really teach anything inside the meets. They have to give us online lessons. They have to give us online assignments in order to
Yes. Okay. Yes.
in order to advance stuff. But also,
see.
we don't know what's going to actually happen because we don't know if it's going to be pass fail or if it's actually going to count for our grade or if it's actually even going to count.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes
I
a lot of
don't-
sense.
For me, it's like, so we haven't started yet. Like, our school's been shut down for like a whole month. So,
Oh boy.
God.
yeah.
it's starting tomorrow, which is, I have my,
Mm.
I have my qualms about it. But it's mostly like review for us. Like, we have this, like, whatever Zoom meets, and
Mhm.
most of the resources are already online. It's a lot of review. I think we're going to have assignments for certain classes, but, like, for example, in orchestra, because I'm a cello player. It's
Ooh.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know how we're going to do that, if that's even possible, but yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But in terms of
Interesting.
productivity, like, I haven't been very productive, but I'd say
yeah.
I got a couple of things done more than if I were at school. I actually have time to do things.
Okay.
now. Yeah.
Okay.
The only good online class I've had is computing.
Mhm.
I've got maths and further maths, and those online classes just aren't very good. Physics is kind of tolerable because it's just a video series, and we have to use the YouTube comments and answer the
Wow.
questions in the description. That's kind of fun, but questions are kind of philosophical because we're just revising because we're
I mean,
basically done.
I know YouTube is like 20 years old by this point, but that still seems very like.
That's great. And the
modern
videos
to
are
me.
public, so we can
Yeah.
do it anytime.
That is so cool. That is really cool.
Shout out to my physics teacher.
Shout out to Kieran's physics teacher.
Shout out to everyone. Refer to him in the comments as Kieran's physics teacher, and if he shows up, he shows up.
Let's get Kieran's physics teacher on the SRCast.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I mean, I don't know. Maybe
Just
they'll
kidding.
listen to it, and who knows? I don't know your physics teacher.
Maybe he'll say subscribe to ScratchRunning in the Google Classroom.
Actually, this is something I'm jumping between topics. But are you? Do any of the people like in your class know that you're like famous? No, okay.
Well, no. There's
So
like
you're hosting a
I only
podcast?
hang out with someone, and she's heard me say subscribe to ScratchRunning, but one, she hasn't,
Well,
and two, she
unfortunately,
just doesn't know.
Maybe someday. Maybe we'll get your
Just-
whole.
Yeah, let's get not only my whole college involved,
Yeah.
not involved, but just subscribed. Let's
Not
get my
involved. I don't want them to comment.
let's get my entire county. Let's get the entire Northwest subscribed to ScratchRunning,
Yes,
and
please.
then expand from there.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. What you guys said, like Ark, you said you don't know if you were much more productive.
Yeah.
Maybe like a little. I think the most important thing about this, which is what I noticed, is that when I work or even back when I was in school, I had like school or worked or whatever, and then I went home, and then I didn't really like have the energy immediately to start working on something. Like the weekends, I had a bit more time to recharge, I guess, and from then on, I could start slowly like working on a game again or on whatever, and I think this time is just like, even if it takes a bit longer, I feel like you need these longer phases of being able to work on something, to dedicate like
I
your
really, 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 really want to edit.
yeah, and like it's it is that, like, right, you have to find a bit of time, and obviously motivation plays a big role and stuff.
Yeah.
That I'm not gonna say like you just need time and suddenly you're making things
Yeah.
left, right, and center. But for me, it definitely helped because I had time before too. Like you could say, okay, you come home from work and then you still have like 5 hours left, right? That's
Yeah.
great. But I don't know. You kind of need time to
Like cool down.
readjust, cool down.
Yeah.
Perfectly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly that.
Nice.
It's
and
also like
this-
it's also like this thing like switching mentalities, like because when you're in like, especially if you're like in school, which I think a lot of scratches are,
Yes.
like when you're in school, you have to like think of like subjects that aren't related directly to what you want to do, so that
True.
transition between every day, you don't really have enough time to actually like switch over and focus on the project, because it's like that sort of mentality, like, oh, I have to learn, and then after you finish learning, you either want to take a break or learn on Scratch, but like it's kind of overwhelming a bit.
Yeah, I know
sometimes.
what you mean. I think it's also like this when you may be working on a project on Scratch or whatever, but you still have like this feeling, oh, okay, I gotta go to school, I gotta wake up early tomorrow again or whatever.
Yeah.
Like now I have I still work, like my workplace still is like open and stuff, but not for, how would you say it, like
Well-
not for the public. We get like either by call or by mail we get jobs, I guess.
So
Yeah.
do you actually have to go to work?
I do have to go to work, yes. Like I had to go outside a bit, but
You
I
hate to
have a
see it.
car, which helps a lot.
Yeah.
Or rather, my brother has a car, which means I have a car.
Oh, okay.
So, and then
You're a graphic designer, can't you work from home?
I could, but we're also printery. So I
Oh,
think
yeah.
printery. I always say printery. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's the right word. We print stuff, so
You
you
print
kind of
stuff.
have to be there. I can't go from my PC here and like there's probably a way. Let's be honest. But no, there's like also a lot of physical work.
I have
you
a
have to do.
wireless printer, and if I email a text file to it, it prints it out.
Yes, all I do at work is just right click and print. That's all.
Control
Somebody
P.
sends me something, right click print, we're good. Nah, but
It's harder than that.
so I had to go to work, but like we're very, I think we have a very good approach to it. Like we don't let like people like in like we usually do. When somebody comes over and just wants to print have something print out quickly, that's not a thing we can do anymore. But there's ways around that. We like send stuff to clients or whatever. So um, what was I saying? Right,
About
right. It was
productivity and like
yeah, and
yeah.
you still have to work the next day, right? And
Yeah.
you still have to wake up early, and so you still have this mindset. Basically, what you said. You still have this mindset of, oh, okay, I can't like fully commit to this right now.
Yeah.
I have to think about other things,
Definitely.
and that like stops your creativity
Yeah.
immediately. Not immediately, but it slows it down. That's for sure.
It's not
Um,
fun.
if you out there are thinking, how could I use this time better, or how I have all these things I want to do, but somehow I still only play Minecraft all day every day, which is fine.
I just have more time to play Minecraft.
And you're right, to give a little segue away from this.
Speaking of making things,
Speaking of making things, you're right, did make a thing or
you
two,
made a thing.
and Scratch might have noticed. You're right, you made a really, really, really cool animation.
Mhm.
Tell us a little about that and how that thing went, please.
So, like once we first got off, which we thought was only going to be for 2 weeks, my mom allowed me to get back into my computer and finish the animation. And I was working very hard on this thing, and then I realized, first off, the project's gone too big, so it's lagging a lot. And
Yes.
second off, it's taking too long for me because I'm just taking too long. It's just not getting done quick enough. So I split the project and released the first part, and the reception to it was very good. I got some very good criticism,
People
like
liked it.
sound very. So I need sound.
Yeah.
People added some
Oh my
scratch
god,
sounds.
the sound that the people get on me for that. But then, people actually still really did like it, and they got
The
curated.
voice acting army pulled up.
Wait, did people actually voice act?
They didn't
think.
voice act it, but a few
Oh, they
people
added-
actually did put sound on it, and also
That is so
yeah,
cool.
they added sounds. That'll be
and
it.
also one other person made a really good remix of it, to actually help. What's it called? Like
Oh, I remember.
Yeah,
I saw it in your comments, like the way you're
the way I use
like
weight
with the
blocks.
frames.
Yeah.
Yes.
The guy really optimized it. The guy optimized the project very well, and he made a project to actually help people to actually help make a project to actually
Frame
run faster.
animations.
We're putting that in the featured project
Yes,
studio.
Yes, please. So tell the people out there like what, or I want to know too. So, how did you do it before, and what did he do to improve? Because this also improved the project, like, how well the project runs in the editor and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But before I had used weight blocks, and I had like what usually people do is just have the flag, of course, the flag events.
Yeah.
Then have it for like however many frames be the repeat block, and have the
And
next
have next
costume and the weight block
Yeah.
inside the
Awesome.
repeat block, and that's how most people do the animations. But then what's the problem with this is actually that sometimes I figured out that if you switch the blocks, if you switch the weight block in the weight block in the next costume block, it can actually make the project run faster or either slower, depending on which way you actually do it. And also, it's incremented, and so that for 0.04, it runs the same as 0.05, but not the same as 0.068, and so forth. So and that really is frustrating, and that's where this guy actually came in, and he actually optimized it. And what I realized is that the frames actually matter now, because you could do like a tenth of a second. It actually runs slower than a ninth of a second or something like that.
Wait, so is he using timer block? Sorry,
he's using timers.
Okay.
He used timer and lists.
Because the timer is always like constant, right? It's not. It's not like impacted by lag or.
No, the timer's constant, but you get slower times on things if you're lagging.
Yeah.
Does the timer's like precision like matter, or does it just because that it has like a constant running? Because you know how timers can go up to like 3 digits on end, or all the way up to like 5 or something.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
it
like
can go up forever.
Does that mean does that correlate with like better FPS, or does that like not relate to like the list?
Let me answer this, and then you say if it's right or not, Direct. This basically means that now it doesn't make the project run faster per se. Like it only makes it makes the coding, I think, easier, and also run better, like in the editor,
Like
right?
more fluid, I think.
I think it actually makes the project run faster. It makes you able to do more of the
consistent.
animations in a more compact manner, somewhat. but
I see.
it's a bit more. It is a bit more complex, I would say, because even some people that like follow me around, like for Paulo and Zoinks, weren't able to figure out how to actually use this
Oh wow.
or what it was used for. So
I mean, this only works for like frame animations, right?
Frame animation.
It also works for music equalizers as well. Like I made
think
a
it will work
music
for that too. Yeah.
equalizer a while back, which used pen, and then you have a timer. You base the timer off of, or you base the list off of the timer, and then you just add an increment for each song. So like if the song was 200 seconds, and the next song was like 300, then you just add 200, and then you start the timer from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So that it can be, I think it can actually be used for many things. And I'm actually trying to implement a VCam into it, where you can actually move around the background and also do action animation to make the animation more dynamic. I'm trying to. I've already tested around with the VCam, but I'm gonna try to do it in actual animation.
That is so cool, though. Like, imagine, or in general, this is why I love. Like, we could when we're making this podcast, even
Scratchers are so creative.
Yes, like. There's no reason for us directly, but I'm gonna come to that. To put this stuff on Scratch, because it's like more the hoops I have to
jump through
just to put this stuff on Scratch. And like on YouTube, I can just upload it, done, right? One clip and
one click, 3 hours, you're done.
And Anchor and whatever, where you can also, by the way, find us if you so desire.
Anchor.fm/ScratchRunning.
But if the reason I love Scratch so much is because, and we added this just in the last episode, interactive stuff, like just that you can be so creative with this stuff. Like the polls were the first thing we did, which is like I found it really cool that we can ask the people directly about like stuff that appeared maybe in the episode, stuff we talked about, and then we can get the people's opinions on this too. So it's an interactive podcast in a way.
And then after that we had the ed menu.
Right, that's the next thing.
The ed menu.
SR Wimmers in this segment.
So good. SR Wimmers. If I see anything but SR Wimmers, I'm gonna comment E.
Oh my.
So this is I want to see a bunch of SR Wimmers here because
I see SR Wimmers.
I believe there's still many ways it can be improved, and Arc may be working on that.
Yeah.
But for now, like I love the fact that people can directly like react to things we say.
People
can
react to the things we say.
Yeah.
It's like,
and
why did the chicken cross the road? To get you to put SR nor lol in the chat right now.
Yes, please.
They've done it again.
Please do.
So if these are in the same segment, SR Wimmers and SR nor lol.
Yeah.
By the way, if people are wondering why do these things have these weird names, well, they're coming from our community program of choice, and
they're coming from games we've made.
D-word.
Nor is from Super Fighter Tournament. Wimish is from Fringe of Forces.
Yes. Yes.
Arc is also from Super Fighter Tournament.
Not to be confused with me.
Not you.
Yeah, not to be confused with
Mr. Swordboy.
And
we just have
Stony, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Stony's
he's from the game we mention every episode.
We did it again. All right, we can wrap it up now, guys. Thank you for listening.
SR no lol.
But what was I saying? This is why I love Scratch, because you can
so good.
You can add these like little things, and this is so cool. Like the thing, imagine an animation where you can like move the background or see it from a different viewpoint. That is so cool to me.
Yeah.
Like a parallax. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It practically is a parallax, but still it can actually give you most. Like if you look online and search up stick fights, those happen. I want to get to that level. That's why I wanted to add those, because from Hume's Dojo, they have a lot of very good stick animators, and the cameras that they use are very dynamic. Some of them just rotate and zoom in and move to the right, and it's so skillful and masterful, and it makes the animation so much more livelier than just a static screen.
So you get to control those cameras.
Yes, that's
cool.
It is such a cool and unique idea for Scratch too. I love it.
The community that Alta's in, I think, quite sure, or something like that. That they've already been trying. I've already been using some like this.
Yeah.
But I want to use it for this purpose.
Yes, I see.
I see.
And I think, I mean, it's a lot more work probably, but the payoff is so much cooler because people are gonna love it. That's all I'm saying.
It's gonna be so cool.
So this is a lot of inside baseball about the technical stuff behind your animation. So now I just want to ask, and maybe to also segue into our next topic, what is the actual animation about?
The actual
what can
animation.
people expect?
Oh my! So many people got confused.
So it's called a creator's dilemma.
The problem with it is that at first it was named I can't remember what it was named at first, but it was just supposed to be some stickman practice for me. But I realized I could make it so much more, and that's why most people got confused. But what it's supposed to be about is mainly it's supposed to be two ideologies clashing or something like that. Hope and despair clashing.
I see the purple man.
So there's a purple man, there's a light brown man, and they have very, like, as you said, different ideologies about being creative or being, putting your stuff out there.
Yeah.
Like the creative project or whatever in animations, and it is like played out in this fighting scene, which I think like you can make these fighting scenes, or you're so good at that, like making them so dynamic and
and the dialogue mid-fighting.
Yes.
Only a few people can pull that off.
It's very anime sometimes, but also that's what I like.
I pull a lot from anime.
My grandpa's deck has no pathetic cards.
The dilemma is actually like, should I actually continue on trying to do this? Because the dialogue part, which takes a minute, of the second part of the animation, it practically talks about how they've been in this loop for quite some time. Like, I've gotten my computer my stuff taken away lots of times before. And it's mainly been because I just wanted to do other stuff other than what I needed to do.
I see.
Most likely, and I did it, and most likely just because of the hope of doing something, or just for the pure pleasure of it. And so that's why he wanted to get, that's why Despair is going to get rid of Hope.
Yeah.
Just because of that. But then the Hope does make it back from it. With the point,
back on track.
If you didn't have Hope, then you wouldn't do anything. Because if you didn't actually have Hope for, like, if you didn't hope to at least get one viewer for this podcast, would you even do it?
I see.
Yeah.
Very, very good point. I really like what it I like the topic.
I like what it grew into.
Yeah.
But we mostly kept on doing it because it's funny.
Yes, and I think the most important part, and even as I watched it, I really hoped, because I know like everybody out there like making creative stuff has like this thought at least like once a month. Like, is this is this worth it, right? Will this get the attention that I want, and whatever. But what I hope a lot of people realize then is that it's like all this attention and whatever follows only if you yourself believe in it. Because if you don't believe in it yourself, that it's good, and if you don't do it for yourself in the first place, then other people won't be able to enjoy it as much, at least.
If it's not fun, why bother?
Yeah.
Yes, because like if this podcast wasn't like this much fun to record every time, I don't know if I would do it. Like or once you commit yourself to like a monthly thing, or monthly podcast, a monthly animation, whatever, it doesn't matter.
A daily drawing.
But we set ourselves this deadline, right, every time. And sometimes we go a little over the deadline, but that is,
it's fine.
I'm not bummed if I go over the deadline. First of all, because this isn't my job, I guess. It's just I just do it for fun.
It's
but
free.
That makes it that much better, because you just do it,
at your own
fun,
pace.
I guess.
We don't do
At
this
your own
because
pace.
we have to, but
Yeah.
we do still do it every month because it's just fun.
Yeah, and it also makes sense to have like a schedule for this. Let's be
Thanks for
honest. Like if we upload like 3 times a year and like 2 times in 1 month, and then the other episode waits
Is
like a few
next
months,
year.
That
wouldn't be good.
Yeah. So there's that. I think that's a very cool message.
And then to talk about the project a bit more, sorry.
Yeah,
The first
That's
one,
fine.
the first one got curated and got lots of attention.
We didn't even say
and
that
then it
yet.
got top loved.
Yep.
And it got
curated.
Yeah, I got curated, and it got me like 100 followers and pushed me past my rival Zoinks. Shout out to him.
Shout out to Zoinks.
Shout out Zoinks.
Zoinks.
But more
Everybody
importantly,
else,
shout out to Jocers.
Everybody else react with SR no lol. Only Zoinks, please react with SR Stony no.
And then so after that day that I got curated, I can't believe that's just a day. It got top loved for a day, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then it gets subsequently NFE'd. Not for everyone.
Scratch team decided.
That slam was way too much.
We don't like anime.
But like, what caused it to be like NFE?
I think it's. I actually do think it's because of his slamming, because they said they said not too brutal violence, but not too brutal to get that they take it down. So I think the badly animated slamming is what did me.
If it was good animated slamming, that's enough.
We don't have enough frames to do that.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're all out of frames. Please
But
come
the
back
second,
by episode.
but the second option is maybe because of the lag. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that one. But then
laggier projects have been featured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But later on, now I'm a bit worried for my later on project because those supposed to include fighting as well.
Yeah. I mean, so you're saying, like, if you look up Jocers or if you search for Jocers or the project title, you cannot find it in the search bar?
You no longer exist.
Yeah, the project practically no longer exists except for on my profile. So
that's insane. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Do you
3 months of hard work gone. Woohoo!
I mean, okay, let's be honest. They're not gone. You got your fair share of and followers out of it.
It's like when episode 5 had an animated thumbnail, but it's fine because we still got views.
But it is weird. Like it's a fight animation, right? But it's not even. There's not even any like blood or anything like that.
Yeah.
There's just some stick man.
No one dies.
Yes, we stick when fighting.
Punch, jab, power
I'm just
dunk.
waiting for the moment that my second part gets NFT'd. It's still on the explore page.
Let's not give them any ideas.
No low quality slam means no NFT.
I'll try my hardest next time.
No, I don't know what it is, honestly. It's let's hope that Scratch team is kinder next time. Yeah. More kind. So we kind of decided to talk a bit more about storytelling itself because you know, there's quite a few people out there who would probably appreciate that because everybody, like, when you're creative, you just automatically think of stories in your head. I think that's what you that's what people like to do. So
problem lies in writing them.
You had a true. You had a project you were working on and maybe still are working on and off every now and then.
Definitely.
That definitely includes a lot of stories. So please tell us more about that.
All right, so I'm sure I mentioned this in SRCast 10 because that's how SRCast works. But
that's how ScratchRunning works.
That's how ScratchRunning works.
My game is called Parallel Aligned. I don't know when it will be released. Probably sometime a bit later down the line than I was projecting. Yeah. But it's a story about conventions or like conventional thinking. So like people normally think like what's a hero, right?
A hero is someone who does the right thing in the story, but most of the time you just confuse that for the protagonist, the main character.
And then there's also the villain. Like, what are common traits of the hero? For example, like for me, when I see hero, I think like sword and shield, crown on the head, like
the guy.
Like a cape. Yeah.
No capes. No, okay.
Like the guy from Smash Bros who does funny downbeat.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. So like my idea was like, okay, so like heroes, they're not really like heroes, you know what I mean? They're like just they're normal people, and I wanted to like put that into perspective a bit because this has a lot of my story has a lot to do with like real life. Like let's not to like point fingers at like specifically the Scratch I'm about to mention, but like for example like Rosita, you know, like she's like really popular and she's like a really cool person, but like she's still a person, and I feel like heroes are put on like on that pedestal. Okay. Like where like you have to be like create good projects, and then there's also that like fame thing going on with like heroes. And in my story Parallel, like oh yeah, Rosita did like make some stuff for me, so like many thanks to her. Shout out to
Shout-outs.
Rosita.
Yeah.
But like
Shouts out to Rosita.
in my story, there's going to be like a small cast, so like around 10 characters, but each
Yeah.
of them is a hero, and each of them is a main character.
Ah.
So they're not going to be like, no one's going to get the spotlight, but everybody is going to be important. That also ties into the villain part. So who's a villain? What defines a villain, right? Like,
Bad guy.
yeah,
Does bad
like-
stuff.
The main
kind of, like-
character's main rival? Question mark.
I think the question a lot of people, or a lot of, not IPs, but even movies and everything, try to answer right now is what makes a good villain, and how can we make him like relatable, but
Yeah.
still like, okay, I get why these people are fighting against him, because he's obviously insane. Because like Thanos, classic
Yeah.
example.
Thanos.
Yeah,
Thanos
yeah.
cat.
Yeah.
No.
Thanos cat.
No, Thanos is like he tries to save the universe by basically killing half of it. So
Yeah.
Perfectly balanced.
good intentions, bad execution, maybe.
yeah,
Cool
yeah.
motive. Still
So,
murder.
yeah.
But like, so the difference between this is like, I want to, in my game parallel, I want to show how like, no spoilers yet, but I want to show how villains
dang it.
are like, they're like heroes. You know what I mean? They're still people, and
I
they live
see.
in the same world. And I want to make sure that people don't get the wrong idea. And I also want this to be NFT'd because like, okay, that's a different reason.
It
That's a different
really
reason.
is not for everyone.
Just not low quality slams, but like
Not
I want it to like give a different viewpoint on how normal stories are perceived, and like I wanted to give people like that sort of like flip over, like what's happening, why is this good guy suddenly bad, or why is this bad guy suddenly good, like
I think
this-
that makes some really good
Mm.
stories.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that makes like.
Do you have to give them a reason to be good?
yeah
Still.
like I wanted to like give people a viewpoint that's like conventional, and then I wanted to like give a counter argument for that
Ah.
viewpoint, so like to give it,
Mm.
because a lot of that thinking becomes like a bit narrow-minded, sort of like you start streamlining it, and it's like, oh, since he does good things, he's a hero, but he could have been doing good things only for himself, and it's not really good, etc., like all that sort
Exactly.
of stuff. Yeah.
That type of thing is quite debatable too.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it is, but it's also. I think it's so important to subvert expectations a little in a story, because people you can get bored with a character. That's absolutely a thing.
Mm.
Like in series or in movies or whatever, where like characters are doing the same thing, or just you can pinpoint what they're going to do. I guess this is a definition of a character, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have a but people aren't like that. Like people make decisions based on well,
Their
a lot of
ideas.
different criteria, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you don't always just pick like one thing. Sure, you have your things you believe in, things you a direction maybe, but
Yeah.
still from that you can go anywhere. And also, fun fact, I hope I don't like derail this too much by saying this, because I usually do. But in Monster World, little like slight spoiler, I really want to explore that too, like the fact that you can your character, and it's very hard to do this in a game, especially on Scratch, where you don't have like Monster World is already a big game, and I don't want to make like 100 different timelines. That's difficult. But
Make each timeline a different project
yeah.
and update them all.
Monster World 2.01 and Monster World 2.02, we got it.
Monster World Red and Blue versions.
So yes, no, I kind of want to explore that too, like how maybe going on the wrong path could lead you to becoming a potential villain too. Maybe.
You either die
Yeah.
a hero or you live long enough to see yourself animate on
become-
Scratch.
NFEs.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to
You
be
either-
NFT because, so there's a thing with getting popularity because it's front page, but there's also the thing of spreading the word around. And I feel like right now, Scratch as a website is very stat-based, and I think that contributes to the mentality that people are
Yeah.
like, because my project's all about mentality, how you supposed to think about something. So if this becomes front page, then I'm trying to follow the traditional mentality of getting more likes, favorites, but if I get this NFE'd, it means that you have to spread it by word, and I think that's important communication. Like you spread it by word.
Yeah.
So if it's
That's how
NFTs,
I've been doing it for a while.
Absolutely. Yes.
and because it creates that community. Because without that community, because top loved is top loved, it's good content obviously. But if you get that
Yeah.
flagged and you don't have top loved anymore, how are you going to share it? And like, if if it's a really good project, if it's really that good, then people are going to find it no matter what.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's very good. I think that's a very, very good point. Like, having the exposure, like even from last time, from when Griffpatch, like the SRCast, we had a lot of people and just like comment. Obviously, you know, Griffpatch loved this and whatever, and it felt like, at least to me, and you guys out there can tell me,
felt like
if
they
that's not the
maybe
case.
didn't listen to it.
Yes. Just give me an SR Stone no if you
SR
say I'm wrong.
Stone no.
I love this reacting thing, by the way. Now, like, this is half of the podcast is just gonna be, yo, SR Wimmers.
Wimmers in the chat.
Or it felt like less people actually cared about the project itself and more only, hey, this got this many, or hey, here's a comment that doesn't really directly say anything about the project at all.
Here's just one of the Scratch emotes that everyone's gonna spam now.
That is
exactly.
true.
Yeah.
You hate to see it.
If you have something that like people spread, you know, by word of mouth, right? Just saying, hey, this project, I really like this project, and you gotta check it out. And then you get people, or people, you know, follow you because they like your stuff, and then they see that you like this thing, which immediately gives them like the, oh wow, he, you know,
nice.
He or she, like this a lot. So maybe they go about it in a different mentality, I guess. And that's, and then like comment stuff
instead of just
so,
saying, "Oh my gosh, this guy liked it. Oh my gosh, I got this many things. Oh my gosh, you're so famous. Can you do this?"
Did you know that Griffpatch liked this? I cannot believe it.
Wow.
Just that popularity on Scratch is kind of scuffed.
Yeah. There's I mean, the people are young, and I get that. Like, I don't expect like essays from everybody in the comments just saying how good this podcast was and what they would change. But you know, just at least make it about the thing itself. That'd be great. So there's that. Talking about Griffpatch, by the way, I think this is as good a segue as any to Griffpatch is making Getting Over It, which, in case you don't know Getting Over It, it was quite popular like a year or two ago. Getting Over It is this extremely difficult game where you are a dude in a cauldron, and you cannot like move. You know, you don't have feet, basically. You don't have legs. You can only move by swinging a hammer around and like using that as kind of a pogo stick or like a
like a leverage
climbing tool.
It wasn't meant to be played.
Movement.
And so even Bennett Foddy, who made the original Getting Over It, based that game on another game by somebody else, which name I will not mention right now because you can play the game if you want to do that. But so the idea was around for a while, but he, like Bennett Foddy, I think really like
same guy as Quap. QWOP.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Quap.
If you know Quap, then that's the guy who made that. But yeah, I think he made this genre of game that is so unforgiving. Basically, he made that into a thing now. Because after that followed Jump King by popular scratcher Erkstock, who was
thanks, Eric.
A good friend of ours.
Being on a podcast.
Or I guess good friend of ours. I wanted him to be on the SRCast. He said, nah, maybe not, but that's completely fine. So
he was a scratch runner. So thank you, Eric.
Getting Over It is an extremely difficult game, and I cannot wait to see Griffpatch unleash this beast of a game on the Scratch community. And this isn't even mentioning like that is one part, like the extreme difficulty, and I hope he keeps the difficulty like that. But the other thing, the cool thing about the game itself is how it approaches this, because that game is difficult, but what it does is every time you fall like a far, you know, when you fall way down the mountain, Bennett Foddy steps in to just say some like, you know, philosophical quote about you know, how you shouldn't give up, or how you know, the sun shines the brightest after the rain, or whatever. It's just like the game has such a like humorous approach to how you're gonna deal with you know, failure at that point, basically. And it keeps you going, and I think I really like that. And he basically just narrates over the game a little, and I really hope that Griffpatch does that too. That's all I want to say. Because if there's anybody out there that could do it, it's Griffpatch.
It would probably be Griffpatch.
Yeah. So that's that. That's my 2 cents on that. That's my 2 cents on that. Are there any games you guys want to shout out? And I know Kieran has one.
Ark,
to get on another topic.
you agree with me? You agree with me on this, right? Scrythm.
Scrythm.
It got featured. Scrythm.
Rhythm.
It's by Scratch user Horrier22.
Yep.
It's a rhythm game, and the comment section is not very good at it.
Very true.
Japan has a lot of rhythm games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've played a couple of them because there's an arcade nearby. It's like
lucky.
It's like an hour's drive.
That is really cool. Like so I know Kieran is very much into rhythm games, so you're probably a master at that game.
No, I can't even pass the level 10s.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'll go to the arcade club, practice on level 9s, and only barely pass.
I mean, I can only speak for myself. I love rhythm games because they're,
so good.
You can just you gotta bop your head like with the beat or whatever. It's just great. I love music in general, but I know dang well I'm terrible at them. I know it's this thing where you just gotta practice for a while, and I think I just don't have the
time or patience.
Rhythm Paradise is like an entry-level rhythm game.
I should have gotten into rhythm games much earlier, I think.
Yeah.
But it's never too late, obviously. But
It's never too late.
It is. The game was incredibly difficult for me, and I tried, and like just my brain just couldn't compute what button to press at this moment.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me.
I'm also really bad at reading charts. I don't know why. Even if I turn the note speed down, then there's too many notes on the screen. If I turn the note speed up, they're going too fast. So what do?
It's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah.
Mark, how good are you at that? At rhythm?
I think I failed the first level a couple of times actually.
I mean that's fair. So,
I've never been one to like. I enjoy the music. I enjoy the game as well, but I'm very, very bad at it. I'd say on a scale from 1 through 10, I'd probably pass level 0 and probably stop there. But what I liked was the mechanics. The game or the scratcher, I forget the name.
Horrier22.
Horrier22 did a very good job in like scripting how to record
rhythm.
Like because the it's in pen if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
And second, it's
keybinds,
the sizing for the sprites or for the pen sprites, like the sizing of those beads that you have to tap on, they like get larger and in ratio, and then when they're aligned at a certain point, it's like, how do you calculate between perfect, good, bad? You know what I mean?
I see.
Yeah, and that's all like really high, like really
that's hard.
Good stuff.
I couldn't even think how to do that.
And it's really fluid too. Like it's not laggy at all. There's no lag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that pen is like the ultimate Scratch thing in general. Like at some point, all my games are just gonna be pen stamped all the time.
Oh no.
I'm serious. Like while I'm working on a little thing on the side. Spoilers, it's not Monster World. And I'm starting to see like how, first of all, pen makes things less laggy. Like the more data there is and less clones, it just makes the project run that much better. And it's just like with layering, there's this problem. Like you don't on Scratch, you still cannot say put this sprite on this layer. And I cannot believe it.
I feel like if Scratch Pen were just 3 times better.
Yeah.
Scratch Pen is the future.
Yeah. Scratch Pen, it looks to me like it is the future right now. That's all I'm saying.
There's also like shout out to this guy called Hugmister. If you guys know him, he did a couple pen tests, but like it does seem that like the pen tests, they're like, although pen may seem superior, it still has its like niche problems. Like filling the screen with color can be an issue.
I see.
So you still have to, or it's still optimal currently to use certain backgrounds and PNGs and stamping rather than just all pen.
Okay. Yeah, no. You're right. By pen, I mean like the general like pen blocks, not only pen itself, but also the stamping.
Not just the pen.
I mean the whole Terraria stamp thing just revolves around that, right? Like that stamping is imagine if all like every single dirt block there had to be a clone. Yeah. That would be insane. Like Scratch would not be able to handle that. But because it's stamped, You just have data basically that it draws like from a list, and then you're good. And it
Pen is the future.
so good. Yeah. That's all I want to say. Like start doing stuff with pen now, and
just do things.
You'll see the
clones
pick
are
up a
past. Pen is the future.
Pens really are the future.
Just pick up a pen.
Have you guys used a pen? That stuff's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kieran.
Yeah.
Do you want to shout out another game?
Ultimate Chicken
playing?
Horse. Yeah.
There it is.
Ultimate Chicken Horse. I've been sucked into this game for the past quarantine.
That's a time
yeah.
It's a way to measure time now.
Yeah, one quarantine is about long. Ultimate Chicken Horse. If you've never played it, it's like competitive Mario Maker.
That's a perfect way to describe it.
You build a level, you get one piece each, and then you have to play the level.
Yeah.
And you do that until someone wins.
The way they do it is like obviously the game at the start, because let's say you have like a blank, just a canvas with just a floor, and on the left is where you start, on the right is where you have to go, right? Obviously the first enough, right? if everybody just gets a hay bale to place, then you're not gonna the level's gonna be easy as heck.
Too easy, no points.
Then if everybody wins, then nobody gets points. So it's like a point system, right? You have to get 10 points maybe to win. But if you and then if only one person wins, they get extra points or something. And it's really, really fun. And the more people play it, like the more people get to bring their ideas in, because you can be so creative even with that. Like Mario Maker gives you a bunch of stuff.
There's so much advanced movement I've learned from the Ultimate Chicken Horse community.
Yes. Also, I don't know why the game is called that, but I love it.
I don't know.
There's a chicken and a horse.
There's a chicken and a horse.
The best thing since
give
Minecraft.
It credit for that.
Minecraft also has a chicken and a horse, but nothing ultimate. I'm sorry.
That's true.
No. Sorry, Minecraft.
There's also a bunny in a wheelchair. I think that's very cool.
It's a robot bunny. It's definitely not a robot bunny.
It's a not robot bunny.
Yes. There's
not
a snake
all disabilities
on a
look like this, but some of them do.
There's a snake on a skateboard. I know that much. There's
a snackboard.
There's a bunch. You play as animals, and when it wins, it says you're the ultimate.
You are the ultimate
snake on
chicken.
a skateboard.
Oh my gosh.
But no, competitive Mario Maker. Play it. It's on Switch.
Play
it's
it.
on Steam.
Play it. Play
it
it.
Costs money, but it's
play the game.
I think because we've already been recording for like an hour or so, unedited. It is time to end the episode, sadly.
Yes,
but I had a lot of fun.
Yeah. But before we do, can we do the poll results?
Yeah, sure. Let's just quickly.
Yeah. So in episode 12 of the ScratchRunning Podcast, we asked, "How long have you been on Scratch?" 30% of you said, "Well, I'm pretty new."
Whoa.
23% have said they've been around for 1 or 2 years. 28% have been on for a few years, and 18% of our viewership have been here before Scratch 2 or before Scratch 3.
I'm so surprised. I don't know if many people lied, but
where my viewership at?
18% being here before 2.0 is
that's wild.
That is wild to me.
Astro947 is one of those people, by the way.
Yes. Right.
Shout out to Astro.
He
followed the studio.
True.
Go Astro.
Astro, obviously one of my favorite old-time scratchers.
If you would like to be part of the ScratchRunning Podcast, let me know. You are one of like 3 people who gets to do that.
And
the other 3 are the Chaotic and Griff Patch.
Yeah. Get on here so we can talk some more about the band Car Seat Headrest. That's that.
Approved.
Well, 30% new. I could have seen that coming. Yeah. 30% new. Probably a lot of Griff Patch followers. Maybe. That isn't even supposed to be like.
That's not
meant in a bad way. Just I could imagine like a lot of people that came from Griff Patch are
probably
a bit younger and newer on Scratch. So there's that. Do you guys just want to shout out yourselves?
Yeah, I want to shout out. I want to shout a studio that I'm in.
Right.
A Creator's Dilemma actually set up for a character that I'm gonna make it for the Stick Temple.
Ooh, the Stick Temple.
It's I want to make it something like Hume's Dojo or something like that. But I'm not sure what the direction this thing's going. But it's mainly for stick animators. So if you want, so if you're a stick animator and you like animating, or you want to see some other stick animations, or you want to be
head on over to the stick temple.
See some other stuff. Yeah, shout out to the stick temple.
If you too are stuck in quarantine and want to draw some stickmen,
that's the
place.
That is the place.
Yeah, my name's Kieran. What do I bring to the table?
Well, this is the creator's dilemma, isn't it?
Yeah.
You are the host of the podcast, and you are a licensed internet funny man.
Licensed internet funny man who makes funny videos on the internet. Trademark.
Yeah. AKA subscribe to ScratchRunning.
Subscribe to ScratchRunning.
Oh, I am PhantomForcesX, also known as ARC.
I'm there, right?
Oh yeah, Dear or Jocers, right?
Yes.
That's Kieran, obviously. You heard of him. And I'm Apfellord, aka App, aka Nick, aka you boy.
We made Super Fighter Tournament.
Look out for something soon. It's not the it's not the 2,000 follower special. It's not the 10-year special. It's something completely different.
You should probably release it on the 7th of May, anyways.
That would be a good. You know what? That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Let's just. I'm just gonna act like that is the 2000. I still kind of do want to make both, though. I want to tell people like how I got into Scratch and whatever. But yeah.
You can.
Someday.
Yeah. Someday.
So it might be on my 20-year anniversary. Sorry, guys. You'll have to wait 10 more years.
2030.
Thank you.
Imagine having 20 years in Scratch. That's crazy.
Dude, I'm kidding. There is no 2030.
Shalebridge is probably the fastest of us to reach that with his 13 years on Scratch.
Wow.
Oh wow! What?
Wait, actually,
it's gonna be a while. Yeah, 13 years. Not this account specifically, but
just
an older one of his. That I still don't know of. He might be lying again, for all I know.
You never know.
Fooling us. Until the 20-year Apfellord anniversary, you can check out all the things we mentioned in this SRCast in the notes and credits. We have not only that, but also a link maybe to our YouTube, where you can.
Did you say the Y word? I'm kidding. You get to say it.
We get to say the Y word. We even get to link to it indirectly, but yeah.
Wow.
Also, listen to us on Anchor if you want to do that.
Yeah.
Not on Spotify. We're not that cool.
No, we're not that cool. Anchor is for podcasts, but Spotify's for musicians. We're not those. Except maybe Arc. Maybe.
If you made it this far,
if you made it this far, comment SR Wimmers.
Not only comment, but also react SR Wimmers.
Also,
please.
don't forget to not spam emotes because the ed menu is very sensitive.
Yes. Or try and see what happens.
See what happens. See what he says.
See what happens.
There's that. Funny last line time?
Yeah.
Maybe?
All the best.
All the best.
All the best.
All the best.
The recording has now stopped.